On the Wado Radio Show.
Of course, it's DJ Wado. It's the Wado Radio Show. It's more than music. It's ministry. And Victory is on the line with us. Vic, what up, man?
What's happening, Wade? What's popping with it?
Man, ain't nothing, brother. Just kicking it. Enjoying this spring-like weather out here in Jersey, man. That's
what's up. You still out there in Jersey, man.
Hey, man, I've thought about leaving a bunch of times, man, but
it's home now.
It just never works out.
I feel you, man. Long time no talk, man.
It's been a good little minute, man. It's definitely been a good little minute. How you been, man?
I've been blessed. A lot has changed since the last time we got together. So a lot going on, a lot of good positive stuff. So I've been very blessed.
That's good. So, yeah, I was going to say, what you been up to, man?
A lot, man. Just music. You know, since the last time we talked, I've put out the R4 record. I put out R4 Volume 2. Those did very well. I've expanded out in my business ventures and just, you know, been growing as a man, growing as an artist, growing as an entrepreneur, just doing a lot of different things.
So you still doing the marketing company too?
That's right. Yeah. PDG Branding Marketing. That's my firm out of Atlanta. We've since the last time we've talked, man, we've probably quadrupled in size, you know, doing that over there. Yeah, a lot of good love. Got a couple books I'm gonna be putting out this year. We partnered with AT&T on a new conference that we're doing. So, you know, we can talk about all of that stuff, man. So yeah, it's a lot of good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I seen
things.
You was in y'all was in Black Enterprise not too long ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Black Enterprise magazine is like the Forbes of black business. They have conferences that they do each year, and they've taken a liking to us, man. You know, we're being considered one of the hottest branding and marketing firms in the country, and they've just looked into what we're doing and they're covering us. You know, they like, you know, the experience. You know, we've done, people don't know this, man, but my business has sold several $1 million in branding services. You know what I mean? And we've worked with, you know, AT&T, Home Depot, Coca-Cola, Constant Contact, to name the major organizations, and almost thousands of small businesses, just helping people brand and market and strategically plan their way to success. And, you know, so a lot of organizations have taken notice, Black Enterprise being one, giving us the coverage and the look like that. So it's pretty cool.
That's what's up, man. So when you do the branding, this is, I mean, you're doing soup to nuts for them.
You say I'm doing what?
I say you're doing soup to nuts for them, like the whole package, message, social media, web.
Yeah, everything, man. We do, it's full service. So anything that you could need, we do it in-house, from video production to software development to app development to video, I already said video production, web development, graphic design, strategic planning, consulting, the whole nine. You know, we write books. We have books that we write for some of our personalities. You know, we have some really popular, well-known personalities. We help them author their books, just everything, man. We try to be a full service place because, you know, we build trust with customers, and once we get that trust, they want us to do everything, and we just decided that it's probably wise for us to invest in all these different lanes, and it's been working for us. So, you know, the music is still my love and my passion. I haven't left the music. People who've been following me, if you've been following me on social media lately in the last, you know, 6 months, I've been talking a lot about the business, but I've been doing the business from the beginning. You know what I mean? But, you know, there's that, you know, a partner of mine, Beat Techniques Recordings. We're about to go into business, do a business venture together. We're gonna open up a coffee shop downtown in the city I live in. Obviously, I have the music. Obviously, we had a branding firm. There are other things that I've been investing in. There's an academy, a school that I'm about to open up to teach kids about music and things like that. So I'm really trying to spread my wings in a lot of different ways. But I've been on this from the beginning. You know, 2015 and 16 is gonna be me bringing this side of what I do to the music, because I think people just probably think I'm a Christian rapper, and I am a Christian rapper, but I'm far more than that, man. I have a multi-million-dollar empire that I'm working on, and Christian rap is a part of that. And I want the public to see that, because my banner is R4, Relentless Forever. And I'm not just saying that, man. God has put that in me, you know, Relentless Forever, R4, and you can see it in the things that I do. You know, God has made me one where I'm like an extremist. I got 4 kids, and in today's society, that's a lot of kids. You know what I mean? I got 4 children. I've been married already. Young man, I've already been married for almost 15 years. You know, so it's like everything that I'm doing, God has pushed me to the far right on it, you know, and even in the entrepreneurship lane. So I want to now show through the music that what I'm talking about, be relentless, go hard, never quit, never stop, believe in faith, stand on principles, is actually how I live. So when you see these businesses that I'm growing, and when you see the way that I operate with my family, that the R4 is a real thing, So now this year, I want to merge the two worlds, because it's funny, as an entrepreneur, I have dozens of multimillionaires that come to me for advice on how they should build what they build. And they don't know that I'm Viktory. You know what I mean? But there's been times where I've introduced myself to people and they were like, man, you look familiar. Then their son would be like, pull up his iPod like, you Vic. You know what I mean? And then they're like, you a rapper? Kind of thing. And then what I find out is they're not thrown by that. They're actually more intrigued. I used to think I kept the world separate, because I thought, if the business side finds out that I'm a rapper, even though I'm a Christian rapper, I'm gonna get the stigma of secular rappers because I wear my hat cocked. Like when I'm in the business world, I'm in a suit. You know what I mean? I'm laced. I'm French cuffs the whole nine. When I'm over here, I'm fitted cap and some Jordans. I was afraid that world would be appalled by this world. But what I find is that business world is intrigued, because they look at it like, everybody has their private time and what they do in their private time. They look at it like, you're a multi-talented person. That actually makes me more interested. And then when they look at this success, Billboard charting 6 times, iTunes top 10, Stellar nominated, those types of things, they look at it like, okay, you actually are doing what you're advising me to do, and it actually builds the trust. So the Lord had to open me up to say, you can merge the two worlds. So in 2015 and 2016, my goal is to make my business world comfortable with Viktory, and make my Viktory R4 Army following know that everything that I'm talking about, both spiritually and naturally, I'm doing by revealing the business side of things.
Yeah, well, I always felt like you, well, obviously I always knew you had the business, but
right.
I always felt like a lot of what you did from the business world in terms of being able to market and brand well, you did, and you proved it in your Christian rap career, because you always market and branded much better than 99% of Christian rappers.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I've always tried to do it a certain way. I actually think a lot of the things that we see happening today in Christian rap are based on some of the stuff that I was doing years back. And that's, even though nobody says that, I feel good knowing that, because I feel like that was part of my contribution to the game. You know what I mean? What you mean specifically? Well, I mean, so you trying to get something started, dog. Well, I mean, everything. Up, though. Yeah, real talk. From 2009, if you go back and look at, I'm going to put it like this. If you go back and look at the Son of the King album from 2009, and then you look at every record that came out in 2009, Christian rap, and look at the marketing and branding of those records, how I did the Son of the King tour, which was me, Molly Music, The Truth, Canton Jones, Marvin Winans Jr. That was the first time you ever saw that in Christian rap. You never saw that before. Yep. Son of the King tour was the first time you saw a tour go out like that. First. And then if you look at just the way I presented myself, I had the chain on, I had the shades on, I looked like a secular rapper. You know what I mean? And everybody was afraid of that. In fact, I got stoned for that. Like literally, the Christian websites that were out at that time were writing articles about like how I'm like wrong for the way I'm dressed on my album cover, which is the most ridiculous thing. You know what I mean? But now, today, if you look at what artists are doing, they're doing what I did on Son of the King in 2009. Now, personally, I have no issue with that. I'm just saying, for me, I know that I was comfortable being in that lane. I was comfortable saying, my stuff was the first stuff on SOHH.com. My stuff was the first stuff on allhiphop.com. That right there, I introduced the concept of us being Christians, and let's take it to the world in this way, direct. My video, On Fire, was the first video to get covered in that way. Now, that's the marketing plan. The Christian rapper dropping an album, he's going to the secular websites. He's rocking his natural, gear. He's doing his tour, the collaborative tour, me, this person, that person, and this person going. That's what we doing now. That was 6 years ago for me. So what I feel like is, nobody's going to say that, but I know that's true, and I'm comfortable with that. So for me, where I'm at now is that's kind of behind me. I'm just thankful at this point that my last record was my biggest record, and that it feels like the people who follow me are looking for more music, man, and I'm excited about that. So now I just want to bring both worlds together and let the people see that the things I talk about in the music, I actually live out, and I think that's important.
Yeah. Do you feel like you get the credit you deserve?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why, because I don't feel like I deserve credit for doing that first. When I did that, I wasn't thinking I'm gonna be the first. I was doing me, and I've never stopped doing me from that day to this one. I don't have any kind of issue. What I do know is the only issue I would have is I realized that Christian rap is no different from any other industry. That was a shock to me. In 2004, I went to the Stellar Awards, and I realized that this is entertainment. I remember, dog, let me tell you how naive I was in 04. When I went to the Stellar Awards in 04, I thought when I ran into my favorite gospel artists, not Christian rappers, gospel artists, I thought we was going to be able to get in the word together. Like, I was like, look, like, you see, you laughing. Look, how ridiculous is that? You laughing. We're in the Christian industry. You laughing. We're in the Christian industry, and you laughing at the idea of busting open the word with your favorite Christian artist.
She's about to bust it open with Kurt, huh?
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm finna sit down with Kurt and be like, yo, man, I just want to tell you what's been on my heart. I was naive, though. I just want to tell you what's been on my heart, man. Lord gave me this word, man. I just want to share it with you. And then he would, like, throw something back, and we'd be like, I wasn't thinking he was going to give me his number. We would go to dinner, but at minimum, we could talk about the Bible. When I got there, that was not the case, dog. And I'm like, this is Christian music. This is just like if I go to a Jay concert. This is no different. You know what I mean? And so that, like, broke my heart. And then, you know, from there, I just realized how things work, you know. So Christian rap as a whole, in terms of credit and all of that, nah. And I know that people listening to this interview, some of y'all gonna walk away thinking, yo, it's Vic, like, especially rappers, like, you know, rappers. They're gonna be like, yo, it's Vic, like, mad. Nah, man, I'm just real enough to say it. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. You know what I mean? What I'm saying right now, I'm not making that up. You go back and look at 2009, look at that year, look at the things I did. I'm just saying that. My point here is, I'm glad that from that point to this one, I know the influence that I've had and that I'm still able to make music. I'm looking at stuff like what Lecrae and Andy and those cats are doing, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was possible for Christian rappers, man. Like, you feel me? Like, when I was doing this, I'm looking at what they're doing. Like, you can get that big as a Christian rapper. You know what I mean? That's why I think Lecrae's last album, Anomaly, the title, I don't know what the album is about, but I think no matter what, that's what he is. He's an anomaly. Like, how was he able to create this astronomical level of success from an industry that doesn't even have a fan base that large, and then put somebody like, you know, the awesome selection of Andy Mineo as an artist? You know, that was such a visionary move. You feel me? So I just feel like it's a lot of great things happening. I do think we need more. I think right now everything is Lecrae. I don't have a problem with that. I just think we need more. We need more Bizzles. You know what I mean? We need more Gemstones. You know, we need more Victories, independent artists that are doing their own thing and just going their own way, not trying to be a part of this vine of you know, this social network. That's why I like Social Club, because Social Club just goes against the grain. Even though right now, you know, they still, you know, they got the Andy Mineo thing, but regardless, I like when artists come out and do their own thing. Cray is so much that he kind of is, you know, protecting everybody that he's selected, and I feel like we just need more artists that don't need the protection of a Reach Records or a Lecrae cosign. They just need good music, grind, and focus.
Yeah, you know, well, I think part of what Reach did, and Lecrae in particular, as the leader, is like they just went hard and just built their own audience all these years. Yeah. Like, they just created the Unashamed Nation. And I feel like what a lot of people in our scene have been afraid to do is just build their own audience. Like, we've always wanted to just be attached to or get a piece of someone else's audience, as opposed to just, hey man, I'm just going to create my own audience and my own core fan base. Yeah. And the artists that really last, like, I mean, just look at music, like the groups like the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or, you know, Michael Jackson or any of these people, like, they build their own fan base, and that's how you're able to last so long. Even after you die, people still buying your records, you know?
Well, I mean, that's real, man, but I've even benefited from the Lecrae effect, because
everybody has.
Yeah, if you look at the R4 album, man, I got like 3 or 4 Reach Records artists on R4 Volume 1. I had Sho Baraka. He had just left Reach, but you know that's still basically the same thing. Sho Baraka, Andy Mineo, Pro, and maybe one more. You know what I mean? Something I can't remember everybody that's featured on that record.
You had Andy on Volume 2.
I had Andy on Volume 1. Andy's on Andy.
Was that Volume 1?
Yeah, that was Volume 1. Andy, Pro, and Sho Baraka on Volume 1. But that's all Reach Records artists. And I'm telling you, man, like, it helped tremendously, like having those cats on my record. So, I mean, I'm saying what I'm saying, but I've also benefited from the Lecrae effect. I'm just not making that my marketing plan. I'm not making, you know, I'm not in the fold, kissing the ring, you know, anything to stay connected kind of a scenario. I feel like it needs to be just more artists that just break away, man, and do you and just build your own thing. Because honestly, dog, ain't nobody making no money. Like, let's not be fooled. Like, nobody outside of a few are really making money. So it really doesn't even make sense to do something for political purposes, because any money that you can make on one side, you can make on the other side. The only problem is touring. You know what I mean? When Christian rap, the tour infrastructure is suffocated by, you know, familiarity. The people that are booking Christian rap are booking the people they know. And it's very difficult to break into that. One of the cats that I see breaking into it, and you know, shouts out, salute, is my man Fidel. My man Fidel has been underground working and grinding. I personally feel like Fidel is like one of the smartest artists out here. Even though he's not the biggest and most popular, if you have a conversation with this dude is brilliant. Like, I talked to him, he's helped me on my records, helped me on R4 Volume 2, just thoughts and ideas and concepts. The joint I have on R4 Volume 2 with Pro, he called me and was like, yo, my man G-Rock just sent this beat out. I think that's for you. Go listen to it. Email me the beat. He was exactly right. I bought it. I got a joint, Glory to the Beast, with my man ZG. That's a Fidel idea. Constant different things that he's come and done. I think he's a really brilliant artist, but he's breaking into the tour scene real heavy, you know, where he's getting on, you know, a Mercedes. He's getting on the white events. You know, he's got the events where the youth pastor's white, the church is white, and they booking Fidel for 1,500 white kids. Whereas most Christian rappers ain't able to really do that. You know what I mean? So he's managing and navigating his way into that. But that's really what it's about. You know, when you look at these partnerships and all of the stuff that's going on, it's about these tour dates, man, because it's very difficult. Even myself, I struggle with tour dates because, first of all, I don't really have time to go out and find the dates because I have, like we talked about earlier, I have 3 or 4 other businesses. So it's very difficult for me to be on the road or be just making phone calls. You know what I mean? However, if I was gigging, I would want to gig in the same spaces that you see at Andy, or you see a Social Club, or you see a Fidel. You know what I mean? So Christian rap as a whole really doesn't have that. You know, when you look at the average artist that's rapping, they're doing 3 to 5 shows a year that matter, or none, and they don't have any relationships in terms of the tour circuit. So that's really what that relationship with the Reach Records family brings to a lot of these artists. And even then, and even with that, it's a grind. You know, I know some of these artists that are on that level that are not booking. You know, right now what really needs to happen is the people that have the keys need to open their minds and look at the rest of these artists. You got dozens of artists that are talented and worth it. They just need the opportunities. They don't have the funding. They don't have in a lot of cases, they don't have the know-how. So they're stuck, but they're still talented artists with a message from God. So as opposed to us making political decisions, we can look for more artists. In defense of these you know, youth pastors and venues that do this and promoters, in defense of them, they got to bring the people what they want to see, firstly. And then if the artists aren't working hard to get themselves out there, these promoters and youth pastors, etc., are forced to bring the people what they know. So if they don't know you and you don't have any demand or any buzz, it's kind of not worth it to them to bring it. So it's a two-way street, yes, but I just think there's some evolving that needs to take place in that.
I think you mentioned something. I think what's also needed is we need more really good managers and booking agents and people behind the scenes. True. Because like you mentioned yourself, and I know you have people that work for you in your companies, but just in general, like if you were in your same position, but you were a mainstream artist, man, you'd have a dope booking agent, a dope manager, so it wouldn't even be an issue about finding time to make the calls because you wouldn't be the one to have to do it. Well, but in this space, we don't always have enough qualified people to do it, and you're almost better off doing it yourself a lot of times.
Right. Well, see, and the thing that you just said that's key is qualified, because I've had that. Like, first of all, I don't really like to work with managers. I don't personally feel like I need a manager. I am a manager. And what I mean by that is I definitely need somebody to help deal with the business. I have that. But in terms of somebody that thinks on the level where they can make decisions for me, I'm just not the personality to put somebody in that spot. Like, I'm going to make my own decisions. I don't do that yet, because firstly, in Christian rap, the money is not big enough for the person to be skilled enough for at my level. You know, for other artists it's different, but at my level, there's not enough money for me to bring in a person that's skilled enough to think for me. You know what I mean? Firstly. Secondly, most of the people that I've hired to I've hired like 4 different booking agents. Some of them I've hired and let them work on commission. Some of them I've hired and just paid them outright every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I had one girl that worked with me for a year. I paid her every 2 weeks. She came in full time, 40 hours a week, for 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, worked for me for a year. Another girl come on. Most of the time, what you find, man, is like, people are not comfortable booking. So qualified talent, the people are there with the willingness. If I go on, I have, 70 some odd thousand Facebook followers. If I go out right now and say,
yeah, you get 100 people send you a resume.
Boom. And then I call them, and like one of them understands what booking even is and how many no's it takes to get a yes. And then that person still is going to need 2 months of training, usually by me, because if I can't train them, who's going to train them if there's nobody qualified? So it creates a scenario. So like, and then what ends up happening,
and then it becomes, do you have 2 months to train them? Do you have the time to?
You don't. And so what's happened with me is everybody that I've hired, this is a true story, man. You can ask my team. Everybody that I've hired for my record label has been sucked into one of my other businesses. Like I'll hire them for the record label and be like, this is your role. And then after evaluating for a couple months, I'll be like, look, I'm going to put you over here in the branding firm. I'm going to put you over here in the coffee shop. I'm going to put you, whatever the case may be, because it doesn't end up being what I need it to be. I'm just better off allowing the situation to continue to fester in the way that it is. And then long term, we'll have something different. But the point I'm making is Christian rap infrastructure. Right now, you got one cat moving, not literally, but figuratively. You got Lecrae moving and everything that he's touching. And then you have a number of other artists who have struck gold one way or the other. You got like a Bizzle, who I quote unquote struck gold with his situation. He threw the diss records out there. It blew. He launched a career off that. You know what I mean? You got The Truth, who came from the Cross Movement family. You got Flame, who came from the Cross Movement family. You got Jason, who came from 116. You got Thizzle, who came from 116. You feel me? You got Collision Records, which owner Collision Records is Lecrae's best friend. You got Andy Mineo, who signed to Lecrae. So you outside of Bizzle, Social Club, myself, and 1 or 2 others, it's all the same family. Cross Movement is where Lecrae came from. You know what I mean? It's just really one family moving, and then and a few peripheral cats, which we just need to keep grinding and working. One more thing I want to say as a commentary on Christian rap is cats don't work together. Let me say this for the record, I'm not asking nobody to do anything. I've hit up Flame and Lecrae for collabs. Craig came back and said I would do it, but I'm on tour. Flame came back and said I would do it, but I'm on tour. Those are and then so both of them basically said no. You know what I mean? Outside of that, I don't ask really people for anything. You know what I mean? So when I say what I'm about to say, this is not a comment to be in that space. I feel like Christian rappers don't work together. You know what I mean? When I look at, Bizzle, now lately, this is the funny thing, and people gonna think I'm being arrogant, but when I put out the R4 album, I had like 15 collabs on it. Before that point, you didn't see the song. I put out a song, my whole thing was I put out a song, Andy Mineo, Viktory, and Canton Jones. You know what I mean? I put out a song, Viktory, Bizzle, and my man T. Hattie. Right. And then I put out a song, Viktory, Dre Murray, Jason, Pastor 83, and Kelly Kales. And I was putting out joints bringing all these different worlds together. Then after that, you started seeing a lot of that happening in Christian rap. Everybody collabing and collabing and collabing. And I felt like before that point, people weren't working with each other. I remember I called some artists and be like, yo, we should get together and do this, that, and the other. And they like, yo, I don't work with people outside of my camp. And I'm like, that's the most foolish thing I ever heard in my life from a Christian rapper. And he know who he is. He probably gonna call me. I ain't gonna put your name out there. You can hit me. That's foolish. You know what I mean? I'm like, we should do these. This is a person that I personally collab with, so it's not like they wouldn't collab with me. The point is, why would you have a philosophy like, I don't work with cats outside of my camp? This ain't Bloods and Crips. You know what I mean? We supposed to be Christian rappers putting together, you know. I'm a grown man, dog. Like when I came into this, I was a young man. I'm a grown man right now, man. You feel me? So it's like I'm just in a different space. I really don't care what anybody thinks about what I feel about this stuff. I feel like Christian rappers are ridiculous in some of the views that we have on things. And I feel like the reason we haven't seen widespread success is because we have no long-term vision. We don't work together. We don't partner. You know what I mean? Everybody get in the game and everybody want to go for themselves. Nobody really want to help. You know, you got cats. When I say help, I mean like, I'm not saying help me, because I know people gonna try to spin it that way. I'm saying like, you look at a social club, them dudes, they'll rock with you. You know what I mean? Like if somebody comes to social club, my man Marty, Fern, those cats, they real people. They'll rock with you. You know what I mean? But you got a lot of these dudes who are prima donnas. I remember I shot a cat an email. I forgot. There's one more. I shot a cat an email and was like, hey, I have this hook I want you to sing. This dude responded like, how did you get my number? Now here's the funny thing. I emailed him. I didn't call him. So I don't know why he asked me how I got his phone number, because I sent him an email. But he responded and asked me, how did you get my number? And I responded and was like, yo, you know, I just got your email address from this person. I'm just asking you about this. He came back at me again like, how did you get my number? Like, ignored my response, ignored my questions, and gonna challenge me a second time, not knowing like, man, first of all, I don't think you would do that in person. You know, based on what I've gleaned from you, I don't think if I was looking at you eye to eye, you would go that hard. I feel like that's a little much. And then secondly, as an artist, minister, leader, why would you deal with someone that way? You know what I mean? And I'm not mad about it. I'm not hurt by it. I'm just putting it out there to say, this is what Christian rappers are today. You feel me? And this is somebody that all y'all, if I was to say their name, all y'all be like, oh, he's Jesus loving, Jesus saving. I mean, these cats is prima donnas thinking they something. They sold 2,000-3,000 records. You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like today, Christian rap needs a spanking. KJ52 told me this a long time ago, man. He was like, the problem with Christian rap is that it's a bunch of cats that come from the hood that don't understand mentorship, discipleship, discipline, and leadership, doing things and don't really realize the position that they're in. Christian rap needs like elders. You know what I'm saying? And KJ said that to me like 10 years ago. And today, man, I really realized this dude is right, man. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Yeah, we like the only genre where the artists control the genre. So that's part of it. Yep. Yeah. Man, it's part of it, man.
And look, I know y'all gonna say I'm mad. I ain't mad, dog. If you think I'm mad, hit me up. We can talk it out. You call me. Hit me up. But let's see what it is. But nah, I'm not upset. I just feel like this. We'll never grow beyond one big artist until we all come together and understand how success actually comes about. If you really look at what happened with Lecrae, you'll realize that Lecrae did what everybody's not doing. Lecrae partnered from the beginning of his career. When he dropped Real Talk, he dropped it by himself. Then he partnered with Cross Movement.
Cross Movement, yep.
And he rocked with Cross Movement while it mattered. And even when he was with Cross Movement, he had partnership upon partnership because he was also partnering with Ben. You feel me? Him and Ben are partners. And then Then he started to select artists, his friends, people he trusts. Trip Lee. You call it a record deal, I call it a partnership. He partnered. You feel me? He pulled Trip Lee in. Then he partnered with Sho Baraka. Then he partnered with Tadashi. Then he partnered with Andy. Then he partnered with his publicist who got him into the situations he's in terms of recognition and notoriety. Then he partnered with, I think it's Sony Red for distribution. And what I'm talking about, and then he partnered with, what was it, for a minute, it was Central South for distribution. My point here is, if you just, then he partnered with Collision Records to help them get on. Then he partnered with Braille and those guys, Humble Beats. Cray, even though he might not be collabing with you per se, has been partnering with cats in every area that he could. He put out whole videos. Him and Trip Lee put a video out in partnership with, I think, the American Bible Society. I could be wrong, but something like that. My point is, he's always leveraged partnerships to get where he's going. And then everybody looking at Cray like, I want to get there, but don't partner. Don't work with cats. Don't join resources. And I'm not saying that every artist need to get together, put their money in a bag and buy beats together. I'm not saying that on that basic level. Do your own thing. Have your own money, have your own movement, have your own music, be able to pay for your own records. You don't need that. But creatively and strategically figure out how to work with the people in your community. You know what I mean? You got cats like Thizzle who, you know, I got a lot of love for Thizzle, but Thizzle kind of on an island over there. You know what I mean? Then you got cats like, you know, myself. Personally, I just feel like partnership is the way to go. If you ain't going to do that, you're probably going to end up fizzling out over time. That's just my advice to you.
Real talk. You got to work with people.
Yeah.
When we getting more Viktory music, man?
This summer, man, I'm like 50% through a record I'm putting out right now. A joint called The Definition. It's probably going to be some of the most different and unique Viktory music you've heard. Just trying different things, going different ways. Like I said, my movement right now, man, I'm trying to bring R4 and what I'm doing in the real world together. I'm a businessman at heart. I'm a real cat. I'm trying to bring those two together so people can see. Because I think people understand what I mean when I say R4, Relentless Forever. But I think right now it's just like cheerleading. I think they haven't really connected to the deep spiritual principles that I'm really standing on every morning when I wake up in real life. And I want them to see that. So now, you know, I've been doing this stuff on the other side, the business stuff that I could have been bragging about. I put out, you know, I got in Black Enterprise for the first time like several months ago. I could have put a press release out to the Rapzillas and the West Coast Fires of the world to get that out there. I don't even talk about it. That's coming, but I haven't been doing that. My point with that is I haven't really understood how to merge the worlds. I think I figured that out. So this record, The Definition, is going to be the beginning of merging that. There is an R4 Volume 3 coming. The Definition is going to be 2 parts. It's 2 EPs that I'm going to drop. Hopefully both of them will drop this year. At least one of them will drop this year. Depending on scheduling, I may be able to get a second one out this year or maybe top of next year. And then right after that, I'm coming back with R4 Volume 3. That's going to be that banger. And we're going to make it happen, man. New music. The flow is as hot as ever. If you heard the last record, the skill level and everything about it is improving. I'm getting stronger and stronger as an artist with every album I put out. This is gonna be no different. So I'm ready to bring it, man. It's gonna be good. Right now. I'm almost at the end of finishing the paperwork for the collab with your girl Erica Campbell from Mary Mary. So I'm gonna have Mary Mary on the record. I'm talking to a few other cats too. So it's gonna be something. We gonna bring it. Let's make it happen.
That's what's up. I'm happy for you, brother.
Yeah, we doing it, man. You over there like, man.
You looking at doing a Definition tour with it?
Man, I haven't even thought to. I'm literally going on tour right now for my branding firm, which is weird, right? I'm on tour with my branding firm through the summer, and then after that, I'll probably look at something in the fall for a Definition tour.
What's that tour look like for your branding firm? Like this is like speaking engagement tour.
Yeah, speaking engagement tour. We teaching cats marketing and branding, Black Enterprise, E-Women Network, 2,000 millionaire women. We sit down, teach them how to do marketing and branding. Then we hit this spot called FraserNet. It's rated by Forbes, top 5 Black business entrepreneurship conference in the world. Last year when I went to FraserNet, we made almost $300,000 in one day. So we're going back again this year, and we're going to try to do it again this year. This will be our 6th year in a row at FraserNet doing that. Then we've got Bishop Eddie Long has everybody know Bishop Eddie Long. That's my dog, though. Bishop Eddie Long, he has a conference going on in Vegas with 400 pastors. We're going to go down there and rock with them. It's a lot happening, man. We got, I already said E-Women. We got the Live Happy conference going on in Dallas. So we just hitting all of these different conferences, man. And at any given conference, you know, God moves, we could do from 0 to 100 real quick. So that's why I've been away on that. I'm doing that. I got the book coming out. I got a book called Make Them Buy, subtitle Your Definitive Guide to Building a Multi-Million-Dollar Business, Brand, and Attitude. That's coming out. In fact, I'll be finishing that book tomorrow. Like literally the finishing touches on the last edit drop tomorrow. It will be available mid-May. You know, mid to late May. It's called Make Them Buy. If you follow me, you know about it. And then later in the year, I got Relentless Forever, the book coming out, which is just basically a breakdown of the spiritual principles of what I live by. It's based heavily on this book by a guy named Dr. Youngie Cho called The Fourth Dimension. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but get that book, Dr. Youngie Cho, The Fourth Dimension. That book was a life changer. I read that book 14 years ago. I've never been the same since. And so our Relentless Forever is largely, the principles of Relentless Forever are largely based on that. So that book will be coming out in the fall to the fourth quarter as well. And then, like I said, two definition part 1, definition part 2 are for volume 3 next year. The branding tour, 2 books this year. And we have the conference sponsored by AT&T, August 12th and 13th in Atlanta at the AT&T headquarters. We're doing our first marketing and branding conference where we're going to be bringing in people and teaching them across 2 days how to build their business. It's sponsored by AT&T. We're going to have Dr. Randall Pinkett. He was the winner of the 3rd season of Apprentice, first black man to get a $1 billion contract with the government. He's going to be there. He's a client of ours, a mentor of ours. He's a keynote speaker for the conference, sponsored by AT&T. Just trying to make it happen, brother. So albums, books, tour, like we doing it all.
Yeah, Randall Pinkett is a beast, man. We had him at our church, Martin Luther King weekend, for part of our celebration. He spoke. We always do like a conference on Mondays.
Yeah,
because he's from out here, man. He's a beast, bro.
Yeah, he's out there in the PGC, out in that area. Yeah, and yeah, he's that guy, man. Down to earth, real dude. He took a liking to us. He likes what we do in terms of services. We connected with him as men. In fact, he does a lot of RFPs, which are called requests for proposals. So people come to him and say, "Hey, we want you to work on something." When he does those, he literally calls us. Rutgers University had one from 2 months ago. He called us and said, "Rutgers has an opportunity that I'm gonna jump into. I want you and your organization to be a part of it." So Randall is my guy. Good dude. Love him. Appreciate him.
So how do you plan to merge these two worlds, man?
I don't know, man.
I'm intrigued by this.
I don't know, man. What I'm trying to figure out is how to not scare people as a rapper. So what you probably gonna see is in the new stuff, you're gonna see less fitted caps, more button ups. You know what I'm saying? The content of the songs that I select, like I could easily go with the sure shot, get you to dance, simple hook, tilt your hat, tilt your hat, tilt your hat type hook. You feel me? Put it out and everybody love it. But when I do that and I'm sitting in front of who knows who trying to negotiate who knows what, and they pull up tilt your hat, I'm gonna be a little embarrassed. And just keep it real. So what I want to do is find out how to put out music that if they played the song in a meeting while I'm trying to close the deal, I would be comfortable. So that's what I'm doing. The joint that I'm working on with Erica Campbell is exactly that. It's a joint where...
But hold on a minute, though. But why would you... I mean, I feel like Jay-Z's giving you the blueprint, though, Vic.
Jay did the same thing. Look at Jay's music. New York, big city. That joint, if you play that joint in a meeting, nobody's going to be like, why you write this song, Jay? You know what I mean? If you listen to the Blueprint 3, his first single with him, Justin Timberlake. And
yeah, but he also got Somewhere in America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He got Somewhere in America on the album. Listen. He got Somewhere in America on the album. You know, Molly, Somewhere in Molly is still twerking. I understand. Right. Somewhere on the album. But here's the thing. The cat sitting in the meeting with you ain't finna buy the album. He gonna hear the single and see the video. So Jay,
you just need to make sure your singles is right.
Yeah. Good correction, clarity. Yeah, no. Only this. I'm not saying that the record is gonna be like playable in the elevator. That's not the point. I'm saying my singles are gonna need to be suitable for my whole movement. So if I'm sitting down in front of somebody negotiating, they aren't thrown when they look at my single. You know what I mean? And I make music fitting for that. If you look at my album, you go all the way back to 2006. I got albums like Believe It Now, where the music on those albums, I would play those in front of my clients and partners on the business side. I would play those songs. So it's not like I'm finna just change. I'm just gonna, the only thing that's gonna be different is some of the music that I put visuals to and promote is gonna be a little more mature. That's the point that I'm making. But the songs are still gonna be me. Like, I'm not saying that I'm about to change it and do something different. I'm not finna be whack, and I'm not finna make business rap. You feel me? Like rap songs for 50-year-old men. It's gonna still be Vic, but it's gonna have to be suitable for both worlds, so that when people if somebody stumbles upon me from either side, I make sense as a single unit. Now, it's been hard. I'm gonna keep it. It's been hard being basically two people, like a businessman with an alter ego. That's been difficult, man. You feel me? It's like I need to get rid of this idea and be one person. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Hey, so let me ask you this real quick. In all seriousness, just going back to the Erica Campbell thing, is this song that you have with her, is this just her or is this her and her sister?
It's just her.
Okay.
And it's still a chance that it could not happen. It's a very slim chance, but there's still a chance it could not happen. So let me put that out there. But we're scheduling. At this point, we're scheduling. So I don't see why it wouldn't, but you know how things go in the music business.
I know. Yeah, I know how the game is, my brother. I know how the game is, man. Nah, you know what I got to ask you about, bro?
What's good?
This might be a whole other interview, but I know you got an interesting perspective on this because you grew up in Chicago. You live in Alabama. You travel all over the country, man. Man, just your thoughts on just all this police brutality and just unrest that's happening right now, man.
To be as succinct and professional as possible, it's almost impossible to not be offended and enraged by what's going on in the country right now. But as a Christian, it's my responsibility to remember God's principles and the way the Lord said it. He said, you know, if our kingdom was of this world, we would fight. You know, and because it's not, we don't have to fight. We fight in a different way. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, you know, but against principalities. So we have to understand what our weapons of warfare are and turn to those in this type of moment. It's easy to want to run outside and just start slapping folks. You know what I mean? But it's difficult. It's you know, we feel like we're doing a show of strength by destroying ourselves, essentially destroying our own communities, or even if we were to go and destroy their communities, we think that's strength. That's not strength. You know, real strength is the ability to say, I'm going to stay within myself and believe God and continue to do what I know to be right and let their fate seal itself. You know what I mean? So if our communities could band together to help, as opposed to, if we can band together, that's a great thing. We band together. Bloods and Crips called a truce. Our communities band together. So we just demonstrated that we can work on one accord. We just got to set the right goals. We don't want to work on one accord to destroy a coffee shop. Like, what's the point of that? Why don't we work on one accord to circulate dollars into our coffee shops so that our kids aren't necessarily in poverty-stricken situations where they feel led into a life of crime and put themselves in harm's way of these police officers. So
man, you know what it is, though. I mean, you just talked about it. We do the same thing in the Christian rap community, bro. Like, it's a community-wide issue.
Yeah.
Like,
Man,
what we see in Christian rap is just a bigger manifestation of our communities in general, bro.
Trail talk. Like, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. Like, but the real problem is we don't see it. At the end of the day, as communities, I don't mean we don't see it meaning we don't understand it. I mean, we don't have examples of what I'm expressing that worked. And then when you start talking about the irresponsibility of the visuals that we do get, when we look at BET and we read the blogs and we see how irresponsible whether they like it or not, leaders are promoting cars, women, and violence as good, and then putting that image in front of these kids, and then our parents not being able to combat that image, because this is what the 16-year-old child is faced with. I see Jay-Z, well, I ain't even gonna say Jay, I see Plies, let's use somebody like that. I see Plies riding around in his car with a strap and a girl with a big butt. That's what I want. And then your dad is like, don't do that. But 2 weeks ago, the lights got cut off. So you telling me not to do that, but you can't pay the light bill. And he telling me to do it, and he driving and everything and doing everything I think I want to do because I've been programmed to think that's what I want to do. So the issue is we don't see it. First of all, we don't educate them on what's real and what's fake, the kids. And then we don't see somebody doing it right and living a way that's desirable. We've convinced our communities, and this is old, we all have said this before, but let's just say it again. We've convinced our communities that speaking intelligently, dressing the right way, going to school and having a simple job that you work your way up in is the wrong way to do things. Like, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to speak intelligently. You don't want to dress. You don't want to dress like you got sense. You don't want to take that $9 hour job and work your way up. You want to sell drugs and use the latest slang so you can get the stuff quicker. That's what nobody want to agree with that, but that's what we doing. So the real issue is that we don't see people being, let me go even deeper. The real issue is our definition of success. Our definition of success is grossly incorrect versus what reality says. And it takes most of us, because I was the same kid. Like, in that book, Make Them Buy, I tell a story about when I bought my first luxury car. I bought my first luxury car probably, 8 years ago. It was a black Lexus GS 300.
I remember that.
Yeah, fully loaded. The reason I brought that Lexus is because when I was 10, I saw a kid driving the wrong way down my one-way street in a Lexus with his foot hanging out the door. He was 15 years old. The Lexus was stolen. At that time, I didn't know that. But I looked at how free that kid looked and how happy he was and how everybody in my community was like, yo, did you see Stephon, dog? Everybody was praising him. He was the man in a stolen Lexus. But what it burned on me is when I want to tell myself that I've made it to a certain place in life, I'm getting that Lexus. So I went and bought a Lexus GS 300 because that was the icing on my cake of I've accomplished some of the things I wanted to accomplish. So what am I saying? That's what's happening to our young kids. And I got lucky that I had people around me that genuinely loved me and talked to me and showed me Sherrod, which is my real name. This is the way you go. Go that way. But 99% of the kids that grew up in the same community, Southside Chicago, 108th and Eggleston. If you know the Inglewood area, you know where I'm from. The kids growing up in my community aren't lucky enough to have my father lived in California, but I had my grandmother, my mother, my aunts, you know what I'm saying, women that showered me and showed me which way to go in a city like Chicago. So the real of it is, man, is we don't have these examples. My aunt, I had an example. The reason I know what I'm saying is because my aunt graduated from Stanford, which is an Ivy League school, magna cum laude. My mother graduated from high school at 15 and a half years old. So I got women around me that know what the game is and they can show me which way to go. So I saw it. My aunt moved to Kentucky when I was 10 years old and bought a $300,000 house. 20 years ago, dog, I'm coming from the projects. I grew up 5 years old. I'm in the projects.
Yeah, that's a mansion.
Dog, I'm like, what? You can do this? Like, people can do this? That's literally what I'm thinking. Like, people can live in houses like this that look like me. That changed my life, dog. Just seeing her crib. When I came back to Chicago, I knew that Chicago was not all there was to the world. That alone put me in a different mental space. You feel me? So we don't see it, man. In our communities, we don't know what there is beyond the four walls we live in. So we do what we do thinking that this is the end of the world. Then we become 30 years old and we naturally mature and start to realize, like, man, if I would have known how much opportunity could exist for me when I was a child, I would have made different decisions. Because these kids that you're seeing on TV that they, typecasting in the media and doing all that, these are good people, man. Even though they might be misguided right now and don't have leadership and don't really know, these are good people. These are your Obamas. These are your Jay-Z's. These are your Martin Luther Kings. These are your Victorys. These are your Wados. You know what I mean? But without guidance, man, they on the street stealing alarm clocks because somebody said, let's riot. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I was actually in Baltimore this past weekend on Saturday. We was doing some volunteer work all day down there.
That's what's up.
And the weird part about it was, I mean, we was literally, like, the church we was volunteering at was literally, it's probably 500 feet from where Freddie Gray got arrested. So we went past the CVS that got burned down that everybody saw in the news, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
The crazy part was, in the midst of this tragedy, this is the first time in my life that I've been in black communities all over the country. Yeah. I've never seen this many churches doing outreaches simultaneously on one day that I saw that weekend. It was like if you didn't have any food that weekend,
you got something to eat, though.
You got something to eat that weekend.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, Southern Baptist Church, right in the smack middle of Baltimore. I was there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Pastor Dr. Dante Hickman is the pastor there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Dr. Hit Me. We donated $3,000 to his church because once the riots hit, they burned. He has a home for a 60-room home. He has two 60-room homes for elderly.
Yeah, they were affordable housing. They got burned down.
They burned them down.
Yeah.
You feel me? So me and my on behalf of my branding firm and organization, we donated $3,000 to him to say, look, we love you. He's a client. Like, we were just there 2 weeks ago in Baltimore, in his church, smack in the middle of the hood, doing work for him to help him, build up his ministry. And then this happened. So we donated the $3,000 to him. The point I'm making is he's on TV right now, fighting the cause. And even with losing and having that stuff burnt down, he got his whole ministry, just like you said, in the streets, giving, clothing, food, opening up the doors of the church to some that are displaced in the midst of losing 60 to 120 homes. You feel me? So right now, there are certain members, shout out to Dante Hickman Southern Baptist Church in Baltimore. There are people like yourself out in Baltimore right now, or at that time this past weekend, donating time. Like, that is what we need to be doing. You know what I mean? Real talk.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's a lot of people hurting out there, bro. I mean,
Yes,
I can imagine how the people in Ferguson feel, because it's almost like we forgot about them, But
Yeah.
I can tell you, man, Baltimore right now, like
Baltimore was
people are
already
genuine.
a war zone, though. Real talk.
Yeah, it was bad. It was already bad, and I think, it's just people are hurt. They're confused. They're, I don't know, man. Tough, bro.
Yeah, man.
Tough, man.
Yeah, we'll pray for him.
That's all we can do, brother. That's all we can do, man. So, new music from Viktory this year.
Yep. Yes, sir. The definition.
Sounds like you might be
part
dropping
one.
a lot of music from what you were saying earlier, bro.
Oh, man, we finna kick it up in the high gear, man. I'm gonna be dropping 3 records between now and next summer, so we finna go.
That's what's up, man. Well, Vic, man, it's always good doing these, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Good to see you. Well, good to talk to you. I'll catch
There
up with
you
you
go.
sometime soon.
Absolutely, man.
On the Way Radio Show. On the Way Radio. On the Way Radio Show. Where it's much more than music, it's ministry.